Mike Kennedy, M005 Kennedy with you today, and we're doing another little power line walk. Nice trail here. Let's see what we see. Get some exercise, loosen my back up, screech a little in pain, you know, those usual things I do. Let's see what we can see. Cattails coming up. I was honestly hoping to see some mushrooms because we've had real wet weather, and then we've had 2 real days of really warm. It's actually hot right now, believe it or not, after it being cold. It seems hot. It isn't really that hot, but it seems like it. You can see we got some wet trail here. Present popular juniper bushes. Someone told me that's from Texas that they use these to fight allergies. So I'm going to try to find the particulars on that, and I will post some information about that once I have it. I'll look that up in some of my medicinal books as well too. And this will sound funny, as someone that likes plants, kind of into plants, the whole herbal thing, I find a lot of it less than reliable. It's like a lot of times you find, okay, you have an herbal expert. And what has he done? He's studied material by other herbal experts. And they've studied other material from people before. And a lot of the information is passed on folklore. And, gee, I'd hate to, I suppose if you had no medicine, you could revert back to a herbal medicine thing, and maybe it would help, maybe it wouldn't. But I'd like to stick with things that have some proven ability to them. You know, some people will say something about herbs and say how wonderful they are and everything, and they tend to be people that have never been sick a day in their life anyway. So if they were puffing on cigars, they might think cigars were doing it. I don't know. That's probably very unfair to say, but I don't know. It just seems like there's not the medical evidence for herbs, and a lot of the people are just repassing on older information. And that just makes me wonder sometimes. Now, some of the books on herbal things are getting a little better, where they break down and say, well, you know, this plant was used for this. Oh, and it does have vitamin B in it. And yeah, vitamin B is good for your liver, you know. So at least that makes me think that there could be some remote chance that it would actually do something for you. But a lot of the associations people put herbs and organs together with, I just think sounds kind of corny. Doesn't sound like good science to me. And ethnobotany is the study of relationship with people and plants, and there's a big rush to find plants in different societies, find if they have biological active components, and try to record these before these plants are all gone, which is a wonderful idea. But the point is that just because people have used something for something, that doesn't mean that it works. Some Chinese medicine they found actually was causing cancer in the people that were using it in China. So we have to be careful. Things have to be proven and tested. Here we have just some ferns. And you know, all ferns start with this fiddlehead type shape. I hesitate to use that word because then people will say this is fiddlehead. Well, I don't know what kind of fern this is. And I think it's not fiddlehead because of how fuzzy it is. But we've gotten past the stage that we would consider this as an edible if it was even fiddleheads or ostrich fern. It's a specific fern. Now what I would prefer to do, I try to be very cautious with plants. I would take this spot, maybe mark it on my GPS if I was really concerned about finding out what this was. I'd come back when it's leafed out and look at it. Then I would guarantee that I'm looking at ostrich fern. Then the next year I could come back and harvest some of these. But there's no reason we can't look at plants multiple times before we make a decision to put something in our mouth. I'm often reminded of, I like Michael Hawke's survival book. And one of these things he says is 90% of plants are poisonous or inedible and only 10% are edible. So you really got to be careful. Really careful. There are some plants that are poisonous, there are other ones that are irritating, there are other ones that are just too woody and things to eat, but we definitely don't want to be poisoning ourselves, and it would be easy to do if we just randomly decided to eat things that we find. Okay, I'm just showing you my walking stick again, because when you see me do a close-up on the ground of something, the only reason I can do it is because I have my walking stick to get back up again. My back is actually that bad that if I get down without it, I'd have a hard time getting back up again. Plant that grows just about everywhere. All these little leaves that look like lily of the valley. These are false lily of the valleys. They're not really lily of the valleys, but it's so nice to belong to some of the plant communities on the internet because you learn so much. Here we have the single leaf. That's from an infertile plant. Now if we go up higher here, see this plant right here? This has more than one leaf and it's got a flower head. This is the fertile plant. So evidently there's many more infertile plants than there are fertile plants. Okay, look at this plant with these funny frilly flower heads, I would assume they are. I don't know what that is, and I can't get really close to it unless I want to suffer through climbing through about 4 or 5 thorn rose bushes, and I guess I'm not going to do that today, but we may look at what that is later. Here's a little area I'm showing you because we see the wintergreen and we've got both the red leaves and greener leaves. If I go down here, we have some greener yet leaves. We have a lot of these nice pretty little white flowers here. I think these are called bluets maybe? I'm not sure about that. We've got moss down there sending off their little fruiting bodies there. I'm looking to see if there's any winterberries here that have hung on over the winter, and I don't see a one. Not a single one. Oh well. Better luck next time. So far this is a one-tick walk. I just got a tick off my head. So you can't walk anywhere in Maine without being covered with ticks, but this is a mullein flower head from last year. So what does this tell us? There's probably some mullein from this year around. And sure enough, we look down here, mullein plant. It's growing in the shade, which I don't think is its ideal place that it wants to grow, but it's there. This type of soil where they've got this trail and they've dug it up and everything, is what we call disturbed land, and mullein loves that. Mullein is a multi-purpose plant. We'll just leave it at that. Here's a plant here from last year. This is a milkweed. You can see the pods here. It's interesting. They're trying to save the monarch butterflies. Their population's way down. And they're encouraging people to plant milkweeds. Well, in Maine, I don't think that would do any good because we have a lot of milkweeds in Maine. What they really need to do if they want to help monarch butterflies is to somehow have a program of distributing the caterpillars or the eggs or something, have people raise them and release them. The plant right here, and you know, just bending down, look at it, I touched it for a second and the flower fell off. yellow flower. There's one with the flower open, but let's look at this so we can tell what it is. It's got spotted leaves. The leaves are about 5 inches long. They're alternating. The bottoms, yeah, you can see through the pattern, but the pattern's more pronounced, the red and green pattern on the top. They obviously have bright green yellow flowers. There's quite a number of them coming up here, a lot of them. So they're just starting to flower. Now, here I am being a little more careful not to touch the plant so it doesn't fall apart on me, but here you can see the yellow flower in bloom. Now, I don't have the greatest memory, but I just saw someone taking pictures of this the other day on the internet, so I'll have no trouble identifying this when I get back. Kind of like I say, I would have just missed this if I wasn't looking closely, but there's evidently, I would say there's dozens of these plants right here. So I'm actually going to mark the spot with my GPS, and I think I'm going to return to it in a few days when more of these are out, so I can see them more in bloom, because there's, my goodness, it would take me, oh, okay, there's another tick. Let's go in for a close. Here he is. He does not have the pattern on his back, and he's too big to be a Lyme disease tick, but there he goes back. He was on my arm. Ticks will fall onto you from something, or they'll just crawl up your leg and go wherever they want to go. Here's my GPS. It's an older style GPS. That says it's accurate to within 24 feet now. 46 feet now, it says. Oh well. We're going to go to the mark waypoint, and we're just going to hit enter. It's going to be waypoint 24. We're going to hit enter there. When I come back to this spot, it's going to look completely different in a few days. These ferns are going to have all but shaded out most of this plant that I'm looking at. And we have these other bushes that are yet to come into flower. I mean, some things are dead things from last year, and I assume this one isn't. So they're springing up while they can, and then they're going to be overshadowed. Well, here we have partridgeberry. Are you sick yet of me finding partridgeberry and wintergreen yet? But here is a bunch of partridgeberry, and there are no berries on it. You know, this is exposed on the edge of the trail. I bet the birds have picked these clean. I'll see you on the next walk.